Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews. Before we get started, we're going to do a quick update to last week. Last week was Free Comic Book Day. I had a great time at Pulp Fiction Comics in Long Beach, California. Ryan always does a great Free Comic Book Day. We had ton of new people, lots of family, lots of kids, and their other thing that they do on Free Comic Book Day is they take donations for the Long Beach Rescue Mission, kind of giving back to the community while building the comics community. And so they filled 4 giant barrels of food that goes to the mission, and they also take cash donations. And they raised over $400 for the Long Beach Rescue Mission, so they can buy things that are needed for people. Which is really important because, food is really important, but also there's other things that they might need to buy, like shampoo and things, things like that people need but can't afford. So bravo to, Ryan and the team and everybody who helped out. We had a great time, lots of free comics to give away, like I said, lots of kids. Kids are always a plus because they love comics and they get them to read and everything. And also raising money and food for the Long Beach Rescue Mission is always a big plus. So we did really well, and thanks for everybody that came out. Also, it looks like it was very successful Free Comic Book Day for most stores. Most stores I've seen have talked how good it is this year. I know Ryan did better this year than last year. We had a lot more people, and once again, it's really getting awareness about comics out there. And thanks for all the new subscribers and the viewers. We had a ton of viewers. We always have a lot of viewers turn in for the reviews so they can figure out what to get on Free Comic Day. So hopefully that review video helped you figure out what books you should look out for. So hopefully it was successful for everyone out there, and it was really great. I always have a great time at Free Comic Book Day. So, but with that being said, let's get to the new comics this week. First up, we have The Boy Wonder #1, written and drawn by Junie Ba. So what this is kind of a reimagining of not so much Damian Wayne's origin, but more of like his story of when he first comes to Gotham. Now, the good thing that Ba has done here, he does give you, it's really good for new readers because he tells you like Damian's story, how he came to be and how he's Batman, he's Bruce's son, and his mother's Talia and his grandfather's Ra's al Ghul, and how he was trained as his assassin, and now he's in Gotham, and Bruce is like, it's great that you're an assassin, but you really need to learn how to be Robin. So Bruce has to go off on a mission, and so he's left alone with Alfred. And so there's these people are being abducted by these monsters. So Damian's like, well, I'll go get them. And so Alfred's like, can't really stop him. So he calls up Dick and says, hey, Damian's on the loose. You need to go help him. So Damian discovers the monsters trying to, attack and kidnap people. And then Nightwing and Batgirl show up, and they find out that it's actually Clayface in disguise of monsters. And Damian, even though he knows how to fight and everything, he doesn't know how Clayface, Clayface can make a bunch of monsters and he can, do things, and Damian has no idea he can do. And it's not like just fighting another, person. So Dick and Barbara basically save his butt, and they somewhat kind of are saying, hey, you need to train, you need to work on it. And he's like, I can just do my own thing. And so it's really a fun book. I love what Ba has done here with the story, in one, that it's really new reader friendly, that he tells the origin of Damon and you get to know him before the adventure starts. And also having the other, Bat characters beyond just Batman in the book is actually really, I think, a really good idea. And it becomes a story more about Damian becoming Robin instead of like Batman and Robin. So I really appreciate that. And I like Damian okay, but I was never like his biggest fan. I grew up with Dick Grayson, and he's more of my Robin. And I didn't hate Damian, but I think that this really gives him a fresh light, and kind of, it's really a unique twist on, he's not trying to reinvent the wheel here. He's just kind of filling in stories that could have been there, and that's really smart on Bob's part. And the artwork is just fantastic. It's a great looking book. Another win for the Black Label. And it's really his kinetic artwork just really works for it. It has kind of a bit of a cartoony style, but it really works, and he's kind of having a lot of fun with it, and that fun really bleeds into you while you're reading the book. You're just like, he's having a good time, and now I'm having a good time. This is really a wonderful book. Really one of the top picks of the week. This is really good stuff. Definitely pick it up. Next up, we have Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, number 6, written and drawn by Patrick Horvath. So, this finishes up the story. So the basic premise here is that Samantha is a serial killer, but she goes into the big town. She lives in a small town, so she goes to the big town to kill people. It's kind of her release. And so what it is there was killings in the small town. She discovers in the last issue that Oliver has been the one killing people in town. So he's framed her for these murders in town. And so now Samantha is on the run, but she needs to get revenge and kind of clear her name. So that's really the premise of this. I don't want to give too much away because it really is a wonderful ending. But this book has really been fantastic. Horvath just, the elevator pitch is really simple. It's kind of Dexter meets Richard Scarry characters. That's the elevator pitch, but it's been so much more than that. And it's been tense. It's been amusing. It's been creepy. It just has everything that a good comic should be. And then Horvath's artwork is absolutely stunning. It's really gorgeous book. If you've missed any of this, I know the trade will probably be out in a few months. I haven't seen any announcements yet, but my guess is sometime around summer. That's usually about the MO because of the summer convention season. But definitely, if you've missed this book, this is so well worth picking up when it comes out in a complete collection. And I'm excited to go back and kind of reread it now that it's, done with the monthlies. But this is really a wonderful book and definitely a must buy and a great finish to the story. Bravo to Horvath for just bringing this whole thing home. Next up, we have Crocodile Black, number 1, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, with artwork by Sam. So what this is so the book starts off, there's this gun for hire that, kills goes to this place, kills these people, and he wears crocodile boots. And while he's there, he leaves boot prints. So cut to Danny, who is living at home. Now, this is set during the pandemic. So when people go out, they wear their mask, and there's that sort of subplot going on in the story. But what it is he makes a delivery to a house. He finds this dead guy who's wearing the crocodile boots. So how did he die? We don't know. But Danny takes the boots, and the problem is that the boot prints were left at the scene of the crime. So now the police are looking for the killer, and, are they going to come across Danny? We don't know. Johnson this is really a lot of setup here. I wouldn't say that I loved it. I think there's some really good ideas here. I don't know that I'm quite sold, but that's not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's really a setup issue. So I do like the fact that he took the time to introduce Danny and we get to kind of know him. So, hopefully that will lead into the second issue where we'll kind of see where the story is really going to go, where Johnson's going to take it. Sam's artwork is actually really nice. It's a good looking book. Like I said, I just don't know that I'm quite sold on it, but it's a first issue with exposition. So those are always tough to do a single review because we'll be looking at where the story is going to go. So I think the second issue is going to be a real turning point for this book to see how it turns out. So we'll see when the second issue comes out. Next up, we have Little Black Book, number 3, written by Jeff McComsey, with artwork by Philippe Cunha. So what the basic premise of this is that Cole and his wife, they're going to have a baby, and they find out that Cole's father has passed away and he's left them this house in Arizona. So they go to the house, and he finds this black book, and the black book has a lot of numbers. His wife accidentally hits somebody at night on the highway, kills, so he uses the black book, and somebody comes and cleans up the mess. Well, we find out that Johnny was not so much, he worked for a mob boss, and the black book contains things that need to be done, like cleanup, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be covered up, blah, blah, blah. So we have found out that his father is alive, so he's come back to basically help Cole figure out, like, okay, so the mob's after Cole because he has the black book. The son of the head mobster wants the book back. So Johnny's is back to save the day, and even though he wasn't there for his son, he's trying to make up for lost times and fix the problems that Cole has created. So that's the basic premise of the story. And so really Johnny plays a big role in this third issue. I'm really liking what McComsey's doing with this story. And Kuna's artwork is really nice because a lot of times it's really just people standing around talking. So that to me is always a mark of a good artist, because if you can draw people standing around talking, then you've done a really good job. And I think he's done a really good job. And I'm really interested to see how they wrap up the story in the next issue. So we'll kind of see, but I'm really digging this book. It's kind of a murder mystery type thing, but it's so much more, and I really like what they're doing. So definitely continue to check that out. Next up, we have Fantastic Four, number 20, written by Ryan North, with artwork by Carlos Gomez. So, once again, this is the best book that a lot of people are not buying. What Ryan North is doing with the book is he's doing a lot of one and done stories, or just 2-part stories, really short story arcs. And so this issue is, so with the events of the Baxter Building disappearing and all that stuff, and the chaos in New York that happened because of it, they're now in Arizona. They're staying at Ben's aunt's house, and so all the money has been frozen. So Alicia is fronting the money because she has money, but Ben and Johnny decide they need to go get jobs. And this is where the fun begins, because there's always the basically sibling rivalry between Ben and Johnny. So they get one job, Johnny screws that up. I will not give that away. That's pretty hilarious. So they end up separately applying for jobs at this grocery store as checkout clerks. And so the rivalry begins when there's a monthly best employee. And so they each try to be the best employee of the month, and chaos ensues, but in a good way. I mean, they don't destroy the grocery store, but it's really a lot of fun. And North has really captured that rivalry between Ben and Johnny, which has always been there. And he really just nailed it. He really just, I love what he's done with this book. And Gomez's art is really good. It's, once again, there's a lot of people standing around talking and stuff, and Gomez just really captures the emotions, the facial expression just perfectly. And, it's really a good book. Like I said, it's kind of the best book that a lot of people are not reading. I cannot recommend this book enough. This issue's, like I said, it's kind of a one and done story, and you can totally pick it up and get a flavor for what North is doing with the book. And I know there's a trade of the first, I think, 6 issues, that if you like this issue, you should definitely be checking out this book. I really love this book. It's just really, really good, and it's really another must-buy book this week. I love this book to death. Next up, we have Monsters Are My Business, number 2, written by Colin Bunn, with artwork by Patrick Piazzalunga. I want to thank Patrick for sending me a message, because I really messed his name up in the first one, and thankfully he was not upset. It's sometimes hard to understand the pronunciation of names, so thank you Patrick for doing that. So the basic premise here is that Grizz and his sidekick Koala Bear, Cuddles, so what it is there's been acid rain, and it has ruined one of the towns that's now called Flood Town, where a lot of the mutant people and creatures live. So in the first issue, what it is, Jenkins, a government man, sends them there because there's something there that the government needs. And so Grizz goes there and finds out that there's this mutant that has actually mutated, and basically it's become a smart sentient creature where it was just normally like, go follow the leader sort of thing. So not only is the government looking for it, but Mama Torment is also looking for it. So Grizz gets the thing, gets it out of Flood Town, takes it back, and then we start to find out why. We're not quite sure why everybody's looking for this creature, but it's certainly everybody's wanting it for a reason. So that reason we don't know, but and also while they're trying to get out of Flood Town, a giant monster attacks them, and at least Grizz and Cuddles is able to somewhat get away, which is pretty hilarious. I really like this book. It's kind of goofy and charming. I like the fact that it mixes a lot of genres. There's humor, there's horror, there's monsters, there's magic. There's a lot of stuff going on, and Bun has really done a very nice job of kind of blending all this stuff together and really making it work quite well. And Piazza Lunga artwork is just, once again, this book just really shines visually. The way he does the monsters, Cuddles is freaking adorable but a badass at the same time. Patrick's just knocking out of the park on this book, and I'm really digging this book. It's a lot of fun, and like I said, I think what I like about it is that it isn't trying to be more than it is. It's not trying to be some giant epic. It's just like, here's a fun little book, here you go. And like I said, they're really just doing a great job on this. So definitely check this out. I'm digging it. Next up, Aint No Grave, #1, written by Scotty Young with artwork by George Corona. So what this is that Ryder is, she used to, she has a violent past, but she's given that up. She's settled down with she has a daughter and her husband. And so everything's going well until she discovers that she has a terminal illness. Now, this is back in like the 1800s-ish type era where the doctors are like, yeah, you're pretty much going to die. So Ryder says, okay, well, I'm going to go fix this. And she basically kind of not so much reverts to her violent past, but for her to fix it, she has to go back to what she did best, which is kind of be a tough badass. And so what her ultimate goal is, how do you fix something that's terminal? Well, you go and try to kill death, basically. Because if you kill death, you can't die. So that's the setup here. I like the story that Young has done here. He sets it up really nicely. It's actually it's a double page book. It's 40 pages with no ads, so you're almost getting like 2 issues here, which I think works really well, because if you'd really split that in half, you would only get kind of the setup, and then the second issue would be more of like why she's leaving and stuff like that. But when you're reading basically 2 issues at once, you get a better picture of where they're going with the book, and I think that's kind of a smart move. And then Corona's artwork is really good. I mean, we know Corona's done a really nice job, and these guys have done a couple series together, and they just really fire on all cylinders. I like the premise. I like the idea. Like I said, you're getting 2 issues for kind of the price of 1, so it's really a good deal. Plus, it gives you a better feel for where the story's going, because you're getting basically 2 issues. So I think it's well worth checking out this week. Next up, we have Zorro, Man of the Dead, #4, written and drawn by Sean Gordon Murphy. So this wraps up this story. So Diego and Rosa. Diego's the son of, the father thought he was Zorro, so now Diego believes that he's Zorro. So the cartel has captured Rosa. They've injured Diego, and so they have to retreat to the town, and so they're trying to save the town from the cartel, who is basically running the town. So Diego kind of, I guess you could say, comes to his senses, and he realizes that he is not Zorro, but he needs to save his sister from the cartel. So they basically kind of make their last stand to, kill, get rid of the cartel. And that's really what this issue is about. I don't want to really give too much away, but Murphy really just sews everything up really nicely. It's a great reimagining of Zorro without, he's not trying to reinvent the wheel here. He's keeping it classic, but kind of giving it somewhat of a bit of a modern spin on it, which is a plus. And I really enjoyed it. I think Zorro's one of those really good characters, very much old school. I get it, and I like the fact that he has found the balance between like swords and guns, and that's all I'll say. You get to see that kind of play out in this issue, but I really like it. And of course, we know Murphy's a brilliant artist, and it's just been a really fun, solid story. And so hopefully maybe in the future he'll do some more. There's he definitely leaves it open to do more stories with these characters, so that's a plus. But it does end, there's a natural ending, but leaves it open for more, which is, I think, kind of a nice thing to do. So I know the trade's going to be coming out soon, so if you miss this, it's worth picking up, especially kind of if you're a Zorro fan. But I think it gives you a good feeling of what Zorro is, and that is what I really liked about it. Next up, we have Transformers number 8, written by Daniel Warren Johnson, with artwork by George Corona. Yes, George did 2 books, so we'll see. Hopefully, he's doing one story arc on Transformers, so we'll see. Hopefully, he's gotten ahead of all this. So really, we're still reeling from the first story arc. The Decepticons have been chased off for now. So they end up looking for their ship, which they do find, but I won't say what happens when they get there. And the heroes have, trying to regroup and everything. And the Autobots have basically, they're still down a number of people. They're trying to put everything back together. But really, a lot of this issue is about Carly and her, she's still mad at Cliff for not killing Starscream when he had the chance. And, she's just really mad at all the, Transformers at this point, including, not only the Decepticons, but the Autobots, because they're like, they don't necessarily kill. They're good. They're the good guys, and the Decepticons are the bad guys. So that it's that simple thing. And so what's interesting is RC actually takes Carly under her wing. And that is going to be an interesting twist going forward. And we're also seeing that Sparky's sacrifice to save the Autobots is kind of messing with them with Optimus Prime. Sorry, there's a lot to remember. There's a lot of Transformers, and he's having memories of Sparky's memory because Sparky sacrificed himself for the Energon. So that's coming into play. There's a lot going on in this issue, and Johnson is really, as much as I wish he was still drawing it, I'm glad that he's writing it, because he's really set up a really good story here. Even if you're not a Transformers fan, that's what I love about this. He's really made it a book that is just really damn good, and that's what I'm loving about it. And then Corona's really, his artwork is, and once again, he's not so much mimicking Johnson's style, but he's keeping it in the same vein. It has a similar look to what Johnson was doing, which I think is a smart move. It's kind of keeping it in an even look, so there's not a big disruption in the art, and I think that's a smart move. But you can definitely see Corona come through in the especially with Carly. You can very much see real George Corona. And it's interesting that 2 of his books came out this week, so you'll see the difference of what he's doing if you pick both books up. But he's doing a good job, and I'm really loving this book. It's one of my favorites. Johnson's really knocking it out of the park, so we'll see where it goes. Next up, we have Geiger number 2, written by Jeff Johns, with artwork by Gary Frank. So, as I said with the first issue, it does kind of help that you read the previous Geiger story. There's a trade of that. So far it's, I'm liking it. I'm still not quite loving it, but I do like this second story arc a little bit better. Mostly because what he's doing with Geiger is really kind of developing his character now, because the first one was really about his revenge of the family and going after, the king of Las Vegas and stuff like that, and that was all nice and everything. But I think what I am enjoying a little bit more in the second one is we're kind of getting down to like he's now on another mission, but we're also kind of seeing outside, like Las Vegas and stuff. We're seeing people trying to survive. We're seeing, and in this issue, it's about a town that's being attacked by, somebody who's stealing their stuff. So there's that kind of storyline, but you're also really seeing the ramifications of the post-apocalyptic, nuclear nightmare. And it's really, I think this issue is really interesting because it really kind of is much more character oriented with him in the Atomic Knight. And it's really becoming a little bit more interesting. I think it's a little more character driven than, say, the first story arc. And the first story arc wasn't bad. I just think this is kind of like, we've kind of set up the action part of it, and now we're getting to really see the world, that it's really how messed up it is, and how Geiger is kind of taking that all in and dealing with it, and also now having a sidekick beyond his three-headed dog, which is awesome, or wolf. And once again, you have Gary Frank doing the artwork. It's a gorgeous looking book. I mean, it's always been really great looking, but I'm liking this second story arc. Like I said, I'm enjoying it. He's building nicely. I think the second issue I like even a little bit more than the first issue, so we'll kind of see where he's going to take it from here. Next up, we have The Last Mermaid, number 3, written and drawn by Derek Kirk Kim. So what this is so the mermaid and her pet or sidekick Lottie discovered water, which they needed fresh water, but they also discovered a monster. So the monster's attacking them. They find a way out of the water cave, but then the monster chases them out of the water cave, so that's not working out well. It's not going well for the mermaid. She's rebuilt her suit, so she's attacked the monster, but the monster's kind of kicking her butt, and then this mysterious stranger comes in and helps her get the monster. So we don't know if this person is, what their intentions are. We'll kind of see where that goes. I do like this book, but I think it's going to be one that really is going to work better when you read it all in one shot. It's Kim in the first issues, comes from the animation industry. So it's really like watching an animated film in some respects. There's a lot of times where it's visual dialogue, where there's no actual dialogue. It's a very visual book. And like I said, we're with the monthly thing, we're getting these little chunks, which is, it's satisfying, but it's not completely satisfying. That's not a knock on the book at all. I really like it, but I think that it's just going to read better in kind of one chunk. So I think on this one, I think it's going to be worth picking up when it comes out fully, but I am enjoying it on its monthly thing. And the art is just, once again, he comes from the animation industry. It's a gorgeous looking book. But I think it's just going to work better reading it kind of in one shot. Next up, we have Shazam number 11, written by Josie Campbell, with artwork by Emanuela Lupacchino. So this is kind of continuing for the post story arc, the post Zeus causing Billy and the family problems. And so really what this issue is the Vasquez they're trying to adopt all the kids. And so the social worker comes to interview the kids. And of course, while she's doing that, these giant bat monsters attack. So Billy and Mary have to kind of fend them off. And of course, she's interviewing Billy, and Billy's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And it is still capturing the fun. Campbell did write the Mary Marvel miniseries, which I really did like. I think she's doing a good job here. It's really tough because she's following up Mark Waid, and those first issues that Mark, I think he did first 8 or 9 issues. Yeah. 8 issues, I think. Really just, I mean, set this book up really well. And Campbell's doing a really good job. I think she's just kind of taking it in a different direction. And we're kind of seeing like a family story, which I'm not opposed to. I think it's just, it's a bit different from like, we're not kind of seeing entirely the superhero, kind of story, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think, building character is really important. We just kind of have to see where she's going to take this storyline and how long it's going to continue. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I'm kind of like a little less sold on it right now, but like I said, I do like that she's building the characters. And Lou Pacino's artwork is really nice. She really captures the charming, fun spirit of what this book is doing. And I am liking it, and we'll just kind of see. We'll have to get through this for her first story arc to kind of see where she's going to take the book from here. But I am liking it, but I'm just a little cool on it. But that's not a bad thing. I think we're still seeing what she's doing. So we'll see how she takes this first storyline, or this first story arc that she's doing. Next up, we have the Deviant Number 5, written by James Tynion IV, with artwork by Joshua Hickson. I think there was a little bit of gap with the fourth one, but really what this is Derek. So what it was is back in the 70s, there was a Santa Claus killer, and they never captured him, but they basically blamed this guy Michael because they discovered that he was gay, and he was taking pictures of young boys in his house or in the shower. So of course he was the killer because those boys ended up dead. So he killed them. Which we know that Michael didn't do it, but we're not sure of really what's going on, because apparently we've seen this monster kill him, kill the boys and stuff, and the cop discovered him. But now Derek, who's been interviewing Michael in the present, this issue we really learn something about Derek's past, and his connection with Michael is maybe more than we knew. So we'll kind of see where that's going. I don't really want to say too much about this because there's a lot of kind of spoilers in this issue. I do like what Tynion's doing with this book. It's kind of a slow burn, which I do like. And there's been a lot of twists and turns in it. So it continues to be quite kind of interesting to see where it's going, because it's like, just when you thought, oh, well, this is happening. And then it's like, he takes a turn and you're like, oh, didn't see that one coming, especially with Derek's character, and trying not to spoil here. Hickson's artwork continues to really be nice. And, it's interesting. I'm intrigued to see where, he continues to take this book. So it's still well worth checking out. And I think I'm sure they're going to collect this as a trade. It might be, trade weight book, but I am digging it, with this issue twist really is quite nice. And finally this week, we have Our Army at War number 81 facsimile edition, written by Bob Haney with artwork by Joe Kubert, Russ Heath, Ross Andrew, and Mike Esposito. As with all these facsimile editions, this is a reprint of the 1959 Our Army at War, which is it's the first appearance of Sergeant Rock. That's why it's being reprinted. It's interesting because a lot of these war comics have not really been reprinted. There's a lot of stuff, especially DC has a ton of like humor and Army and that they have somewhat reprinted some of them, but a lot of they did them in the really fancy books, and a lot of those are out of print. So it's kind of nice to see, especially Joe Kubert. I'm a huge Joe Kubert fan, and to see kind of the first appearance of Sergeant Rock is kind of a treat. But also the plus on this is actually all the ads and everything. You can see, I'll zoom in a little bit. You can get prizes by selling stuff as kids. Obviously way pre-internet. There's like candy ads and stuff. It's a really great peek to see how comics were back, especially like in 59. But the stories are really good. Bob Haney wrote pretty much most of the war stories. And of course, Kubert, Heath, Andrew, and Esposito, they were really masters of the craft, and you really get to see that here. So I like the fact that they are not just reprinting big they've reprinted Batman, Flash, and all kind of key stories. This one was definitely a little bit of a surprise. I was really surprised that they reprinted this, but I'm glad that they did, and I think it's well worth checking out just from a historical perspective. But the story and the art's really great, so it's worth checking out on that. That's going to do it this week. I think there's a couple books I missed, so we'll try to do some catch up this week. It's always hard to figure out, there's so many books that come out. You all know how it goes. It's tough to keep track of everything. So we'll try to, if there was some that I missed this week, we'll try to catch them up next week. But as always, public service announcement, I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics in Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner runs a great store. There's Annie, there's Wendy, Derek runs their socials. It's a really great store. Definitely check out their website. They have a Facebook page. They have a Facebook group page where you can, talk about comics and all sorts of stuff. We all post a lot of stuff there. But if you're in the area, please check out the store. It's a really good, solid comic book store. They've expanded their manga selection. It's a really huge area of the store. They have a really great all ages section, which is really great. Definitely, help get new readers. And he offers discounts on trades and graphic novels every day. And he offers a pull service, so you make sure you don't miss any comics. And if you order enough books a month, you'll get a discount on those comics. So that, it's a good, and always make sure that you pick up your books on a timely basis, because they have to pay for them before you get them. So, and as always, please support your local comic shop. They're the backbone of the industry. It's really important. And hopefully when you were at your local store at Free Comic Book Day, you bought some stuff. And that definitely was the case at Pulp Fiction. A lot of people bought a lot of stuff. So that was really, thank you for supporting Pulp Fiction, and also supporting your local comic shop by buying stuff, and continue to come back, because once again, there's always new comics every week. And as always, we end our show with be kind. Being kind to each other it's free, it doesn't cost anything, and it's good for you. But also be kind to yourself. I know times are tough. Trust me, I get it. I work in the entertainment industry, and it's been really rough year. We've had a lot of layoffs at our work. But being kind to others and being kind to yourself and take care of yourself is really important. So just be kind and take care of yourselves out there. That's going to do it this week. Thanks for watching. We've had a lot of great comments and new subscribers. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you'll continue to engage. If you have any questions or about the reviews or anything, I'm always constructive criticism is always good, as long as it's constructive. But thanks for watching, and that'll do it this week. We'll be back again next week with more new comic reviews. This is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com signing off. Take care of yourselves. Have a good week. We'll see you next week again. Bye-bye.